It's the first time in history that a 52-story skyscraper in New York was completely demolished just to build another one twice its height on the same site. Rising 1,388 feet above Park Avenue, JPMorgan Chase's new global headquarters is now the tallest all-electric skyscraper in the city and home to more than 14,000 employees. Built directly above live train tracks feeding Grand Central Terminal, this tower doesn't just touch the sky, it defies gravity itself. Designed by Foster and Partners, it lifts nearly 80 feet above the street on massive steel columns and runs entirely on hydroelectric power. It's not only a new headquarters, it's a statement of power, sustainability, and engineering brilliance. But what does it really take to build the most advanced trading tower ever created right in the heart of Manhattan? Before we dive in, hit subscribe and like. It really helps us tell more stories like this. For decades, 270 Park Avenue stood tall, a symbol of mid-century modernism and corporate power. The Union Carbide Building, completed in 1960 by architects Gordon Bunshaft and Nathalie Dubois of SOM, was a black glass tower of precision and order. It rose 707 feet above Park Avenue, tall, elegant, and far ahead of its time. Years later, it found a new purpose. JPMorgan Chase, one of the world's largest banks, made it their home. But the building had limits. Ceilings were low, columns were tight, systems were aging. It was built for 3,500 workers, not the 10,000 or 14,000 the bank needed today. Even after a major renovation in 2011, something still didn't fit. The company had grown, its vision had grown, but the building could not keep up. So, in 2018, JP Morgan made a bold move, one that turned heads around the world. They decided to tear it down and start fresh. No other corporation had ever chosen to demolish a skyscraper that tall, but the bank saw more than just a building. It saw potential. The timing was right. The Midtown East rezoning allowed taller, smarter towers in exchange for public space and city upgrades. That meant JP Morgan could buy air rights and build bigger, while giving something back to New York. Then came the pandemic. Offices went dark, workers stayed home, companies downsized and went remote. But not JP Morgan. CEO Jamie Dimon went against this trend. He doubled down on bringing people back. To him, creativity and quick thinking doesn't happen over screens. They happen face to face. So, the new tower became a statement, a symbol of faith in the future of New York and in the power of human connection. To bring that vision to life, the bank turned to Foster and Partners, the firm behind Apple Park and London's famous Gherkin. Architect Norman Foster called it a landmark for the next generation, where the structure is the architecture. The plan was audacious. Build a tower twice as tall as the old one, lift it 80 feet above the street, and run it entirely on hydroelectric power from upstate. It would be a healthy, high-tech workplace that feels alive, filled with light, fresh air, and open space. At a time when many questioned the need for office towers, JP Morgan bet $3 billion that the future still belongs to those who build. This was no facelift. It was a rebirth for the bank and for Park Avenue itself. But how do you raise a super tower on top of a live train yard without stopping New York's pulse? That's where the story gets technical and astonishing. At first glance, the site looks simple, but beneath 270 Park Avenue hides a secret world, a maze of train lines feeding Grand Central Terminal and the new Grand Central Madison. Trains race through there every few minutes. Stopping them wasn't an option. So, how do you build a giant skyscraper when you can't touch what's underneath? Engineers had to thread the tower's foundation through narrow gaps between the tracks, sometimes no wider than 4 feet. Every inch mattered. One wrong move could shut down part of New York's busiest rail hub. The solution was something incredible, a design called the tabletop. Think of it like a massive steel bridge, floating just above the ground, holding the entire tower on its back. Two giant plate girders, each 25 feet deep and stretching hundreds of feet long, run the full length of the building. They connect to fan-shaped columns that flare out like steel roots at the north and south ends. Those fans carry the whole skyscraper on just a few strong points, leaving the ground below open for air, light, and public space. But here's the real challenge. Every bit of weight had to reach the bedrock through tiny openings between the train lines below. The pressure at each column base was enormous, tens of thousands of kips pressing down on areas barely larger than a dining table. So, how do you stop that much force from cracking the foundation? The team came up with a brand new concrete mix, stronger than almost anything used in New York before. It could handle 16,000 psi and in some cases even more than 20,000. But that much strength creates heat when the concrete hardens. Too much heat means cracks. To stop that, engineers used liquid nitrogen to cool the mix as it cured deep underground. They installed sensors to track temperature changes around the clock, making sure it stayed stable. After days of careful monitoring, it worked. The foundation set perfectly, some of the strongest concrete ever poured in the city. Once the base was done, the tower began to rise. Steel climbed skyward in rhythmic tiers, each one stepping back slightly, echoing the wedding cake shape of old Manhattan skyscrapers. It's a look that connects modern innovation with the city's architectural past. Across the east and west faces, diamond-shaped steel braces form a striking pattern. Inside, five huge outrigger trusses tie the central core to the outer edges of the building, helping the structure stand firm even when winds roar high above Park Avenue. And at the very top, engineers installed something special, a 280-ton tuned mass damper. It's like a giant pendulum that swings opposite to the wind, balancing the tower when strong gusts hit. The result? Even on stormy days, the floors stay steady and the traders working below feel nothing. Every part of this structure, from the foundations buried deep underground to the shimmering glass high above, was built with precision and purpose. It's not only about height or power, it's about solving impossible problems, layer by layer, until something remarkable stands in their place. And those trains, they're still running right under the tower. To make that possible, engineers tested hundreds of vibration models, using data from the old building to fine-tune the new design. They found clever ways to absorb and redirect every shake and tremor, so even the most delicate equipment on the lowest floors stays perfectly still while a train passes below. The steel connections that make this possible are giants of engineering. Where five beams meet, the joints weren't welded from thin plates, they were forged from solid blocks of steel. Each block was shaped to handle three-dimensional forces without bending or breaking, its strength built with precision. Building the tabletop was no easy task. It was like performing surgery in a packed room. Cranes had to move carefully through tight spaces, lifting huge pieces between demolition crews and foundation workers. Every move was planned to the inch. Every lift had to be perfect. That's how the team kept the project not just on track, but ahead of schedule. Once the structure was strong and steady, attention turned to how it would perform. The new 270 Park Avenue is now the largest all-electric skyscraper in New York City. Its triple-pane glass and smart solar shades block heat and glare. AI systems control lighting and temperature, adjusting them every second using data from thousands of sensors. Even water use is smarter. Recycling cuts consumption by more than 40%. And when the old building came down, 97% of its materials were reused or recycled, far above industry standards. Inside, the new tower feels like a city stacked on end. The lower floors hold 8 wide trading levels, open and column-free, so teams can reshape the space overnight if they need to. At the center sits the Exchange, a triple-height gathering hub filled with cafes and meeting spots. It's a place where people from different teams can cross paths, share ideas, and spark new ones. And getting there is just as smart. Shuttle elevators shoot straight from the lobby to the Exchange before fanning out to the upper floors, designed for speed, flow, and connection. The air inside feels different, cleaner than most homes. Advanced filters and ventilation systems bring in twice as much fresh air as a regular office. Sunlight reaches deep into the floors, while circadian lighting keeps everyone in tune with the day. And high above, terraces line the upper levels, offering fresh air and sweeping views of the city. But this tower isn't just about work. Inside, there's a full wellness center with fitness rooms, medical suites, meditation spaces, and mother's rooms. Even the food tells a story, from a quiet vegan cafe to an English-style pub called Morgan's. Art is everywhere. Sculptures by Maya Lin, paintings by Gerhard Richter, and digital pieces by Rafik Anadol fill the halls, turning the building itself into a living gallery. Step outside, and the tower gives back to the street. It opens up 2.5 times more public space along Park and Madison Avenues. The sidewalks are wider. Trees and plants soften the hard edges of Midtown, and the raised base creates a bright, open plaza where people can see straight through the block, a rare thing in New York. By 2025, the tower opened its doors. It became New York's largest pure steel structure and a new benchmark for what corporate architecture could be. It carries Foster's vision, where engineering and art stand side by side. It carries Diamond's belief that people still need places built for purpose and presence. Construction took 6 years. Thousands of workers helped raise it. Billions of dollars flowed into the city's economy. But the real victory isn't just in steel or glass. It's in spirit. It shows that New York never stopped believing in itself, that the heart of global finance still beats here, between steel and stone. So, what do you think of this bold new chapter? Share your thoughts, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.